Hey everybody, real quick before we get the podcast started, I did want to just have a little disclaimer here and tell everyone that this episode of the podcast is definitely one that you're going to want to watch on video. So, just to our audio only listeners, um, I would probably either go to YouTube or Spotify to watch the video because it's kind of chaotic if you don't. But thanks for checking this out either way.
What are the boys gonna talk about this week? Chartreuse Three.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Chartreuse Three. I'm Trey.
I'm Noah.
I'm John.
And we just want to thank you guys for tuning in again. I just want to start this off with John. How's your week been, man?
It's been pretty all right. So last week talked about how the sink just exploded. Got a dehumidifier in my room now, and I let it run for 3 hours, and it's already filled up with water. So I had to dump it. That's how bad it is in this room.
It's nice.
But
Buy another one.
we're just gonna keep on keeping on. What
Does
about
it
you?
still smell like grandma?
A little less like grandma, a little more like funeral home. So a lot more cleaner, you know.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cleaner. Just buy a second one. Don't be shy.
Well, this is actually one of my roommates' dehumidifier, so
Steal
I'm
another
not gonna buy anything. I'll steal
No.
one. Yeah, I'll get on that.
Okay.
Probably tomorrow. No, how about you, man? How's it going?
It was good. I didn't go. Well, I went to work on Monday, and I was just writing scripts basically. But today I was not feeling good at all, so I worked from home all day. So that was all I did. My week's been pretty. Let's see, in the short amount of time that it's been the week, it's been pretty good.
That's good.
What about Actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and just.
And listen, we're not doing it again. Okay, it was funny last week, not funny now. So
I think we should keep doing it.
no, real quick, I got it right here.
Oh, okay.
Hey Trey, how was your week? Oh, thank you guys so much for asking.
Shut
Anyway,
You're really welcome. I don't know who told you to tell us about your week, but I'm glad that you
whatever,
feel
dude.
obligated.
Listen, I've had a great week. Just one moment from my week that I'm going to share was from today. I'm in geology class, and I have that with Carson, one of our buddies, and I told him that this was going to make it into the podcast. So number one, learning about rocks. I did not think it was going to be interesting until today. I learned that in rock science, geology, all that, rocks have cleavage.
Cleavage.
You pervert.
No, bro. Listen, they have cleavage. It means that they have they have different.
Were you
parts
looking
of
at
the
rock crevices?
I know
You
what
looking at rock
cleavage in
crevices.
rocks means. Don't. I had geology at one point.
I didn't until today, and so me
You've
and Carson
never-
were
Me and
laughing
you
about
both,
that.
Trey. Me and you both, Trey.
Yeah, man, they got cleavage. Anyway, we also learned about like different types of rocks, and one of them was mica, is what it's called, mica.
That's a
And
name.
I know. So listen, it is a name because the teacher's like, "There's also mica rocks," and Carson says, "Damn rat bastard."
What is that? What is that?
It's from Red Dead Redemption
Yeah,
2.
it's from-
Yeah. So he said, "Micah, you damn rat. He's a rat, Dutch. He's a rat."
Dutch, he's a rat.
You gotta put it over top of you. You gotta put it over top of you in the
Okay.
post editing.
Future Trey gets working on that.
Future Trey, put it over there. I like that cat, man.
Oh yeah.
Other
Chatter,
side.
say what's
Oh,
up. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. He's gone now. But yeah, that's Chatter. He's fat and he's very loving.
does he chatter?
Not anymore. He did when he was a baby.
No, he just grew out of.
Yeah, now he just like bites people. He's one of those kids. He just bites people.
He's one of those kids. Grew up to be a fucking menace.
Yo, I was one of those kids. I used to bite people all the time. Like, no, dead serious. I'm I don't know if everybody knows this. I'm a pastor's son, but I'd be in the daycare at one of the churches that we lived in when I was like 3. And so my mom would take me down to the daycare, and then she'd get pulled out of church like every 5 minutes because I would be down there biting people. But it wasn't like I was just biting people out of nowhere. It was if anybody was screaming and crying, I would bite them because they had no reason to
were
be screaming
annoying.
and crying, and they were annoying. So I was like, I'll give you
So you
something to
gave
cry
him one.
about. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And my mom was always told me that one time I ran into one of the kids like a couple years later, and they stopped and stared at me and they said, "Don't you bite me, Trey Cox! Don't you bite me, Trey Cox!" And we were like 7. Like, come on, man, I'm gonna bite you
Hey,
anymore.
hey, look, that was in the past. Just don't be.
That was
hollering.
yesterday, dude. Chill out.
Just kind of keeping in with the theme of like 2 weeks ago we talked about aliens. Last week we talked about it. MK Ultra. Just kind of keeping with the theme of things that are like under wraps and all that, because I've been having a lot of fun talking about stuff like that. Today I just wanted to talk about cryptids or urban legends or whatever you want to call them, but it's like the Loch Ness monster, Bigfoot, all them. Because I have always thought they were interesting. I know that my experience with them started from the game called Pop Tropica. I don't know if you two have played Pop Tropica.
I have.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
really. Not a lot. Not a lot.
Dude, I
Played Pop
played I played the out of Pop Tropica when I was a kid. Yeah.
He spelled it out with the
I don't know. Anyway,
my bad.
that's a future problem. But but I played so much Pop Tropica growing up, and one of my favorite islands was Cryptid Island, and you would like track them down, and it was so fun. And my favorite cryptid of all time is Bigfoot. I mean, there's no other answer. I mean, it's Bigfoot or nothing. It's like Nerf or nothing.
so mainstream.
Dude, listen.
Unbelievable.
No. You listen to me right now. Everybody.
Basic.
No,
Basic,
everybody come
bitch.
in a little closer. Everybody come in a little closer. Listen. Bigfoot's great.
Okay, I'm leaning out now.
That's all you had to say.
Yeah, man, Bigfoot's great. I mean, Bigfoot.
I'll say this about Bigfoot. I think he's one of the more believable ones.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. I mean, listen, there's no little snake monster in the lake. There's no Nessie.
Oh, did you hear about what that actually is?
It's a tire or something, right?
No, it's a whale's penis.
Oh.
What?
When after they ejaculate, they come up to the surface and they just flail their stuff around on the surface. It's a whale's penis. Look it up.
Look at
All listeners at
everybody.
home. All listeners,
everybody-
look whale penis.
Everybody at home, just
Whale
look
penis
at
on the
whale.
surface.
Yeah, just look up whale cock when you get home.
It looks exactly like the Loch Ness monster, and it ruins my life. I wouldn't say it ruined it.
He spends
it
hours.
It taught me something. I have a poster.
I have a poster.
Anyway, I'm a big fan of Bigfoot. I always have been. And another thing that really got me into cryptids was this show on, I think it was on the Discovery Channel. I can't remember. It's been a long time, or maybe it was on like AMC. No, it was probably the History Channel, because they put anything on the History Channel, even if it's not history. But it's called Finding Bigfoot, and so like I was a huge fan of that show. I don't know if you two have seen it or not, but
I've seen it. There's that one dude who looks like he hasn't showered in months.
Yes,
Oh
yeah,
my
it's
goodness.
Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot.
No, that's the dude looking for
Didn't-
Bigfoot.
Didn't Bigfoot make Slim Jims? Is that accurate? Isn't that like Bigfoot?
Yeah,
Slim
Jack
Jim?
Link's beef jerky.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, Slim
You
Jim.
make-
You're thinking wrong guy. It's Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah, snap into
Yeah,
a
that's
Slim
right.
Jim.
That's right. They're
Oh
very close.
yeah.
They're close in both size and intensity. That's my bad. So
Yeah, he's like
One's more hairy than the other, though.
yeah, Randy
yeah, that's
Savage is
Randy
a lot
Savage. That's what I
hairier.
was gonna say. Listen, the Bigfoot comes up and he's like, "Let me tell you something. I'm the cream of the crop." Anyway, so just people at home, if you haven't heard of Bigfoot, I do have a little blurb about him that I found online. So it says right here, it says Bigfoot also commonly referred to as Sasquatch, is a purported ape-like creature said to inhabit the forests of North America. So, one thing that I learned today, just in researching this and everything, is that Bigfoot actually goes back a pretty long way. Like, not with the name Bigfoot, but just like the kind of the mythology around it. So there's a lot of Native American cultures that are like from way, way back that talk about a mysterious hair-covered creature or creatures that live in the forest. And they even and future Trey, if you'd pull this up like right here, they have this thing called painted rock, and it's kind of like it's like a cave drawing. Like, you know how they had those.
Yeah.
So it's like a cave drawing, and it has like this big old Bigfoot in the middle. So I mean it's pretty cool. But the Bigfoot name came out around 1958, and it was made by Jerry Crew. He was a bulldozer operator in Humboldt County, California. And so he's hanging out, he's bulldozing or something, I don't know. He's at the Six Rivers National Forest, and he's just walking around trying to find stuff to bulldoze, whatever. And he finds on the ground a 16-inch human-like footprint. And so that's where the name Bigfoot kind of started. I don't know if you guys have seen the picture, but I know that I have, or at least a replica of it. They made
I think I've seen it.
Yeah, they made like a plaster of it, and that's where a lot like people were believing in Bigfoot and stuff like that, just like because of urban legends and all that. That's where a lot of like the craziness came from, is because the New York Times and the LA Times and like big huge news sources were like spreading it like it was fact. So like a lot of people were like, it's in the newspaper, it's got to be real.
Yeah.
But like nationwide, there have been 10,000 reported Bigfoot sightings just in the continental United States, and a third of those come from the Pacific Northwest. And the state with the most reports is Washington, and it has 2,000 reports, 2,000 individual reports of people seeing Bigfoot, which is pretty crazy. I mean,
That's a lot.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's
hairy neighbor named Jeff. That's all it is.
Just one dude. It's just
I didn't know I was in Washington. 2,000 different times either. I didn't know
2,000
that.
different times John Kennard just roaming the streets buck nude.
Yeah, not now though. He's bald.
Bald. Well, these are past sightings, so.
Oh, okay.
At the time of his, right. Peak hairiness.
So obviously Bigfoot goes by a lot of names, like, Bigfoot, Sasquatch. I found some, I think
that sounds like only two names.
No, listen, I found some,
okay.
I found some kind of unique ones that I've never heard before today. In, I think it's Kentucky, they call him the skunk ape.
The Colonel?
Is that what I said?
I'm about positive you said it was the Colonel. Yeah,
I said in Kentucky they call him skunk ape.
You call him the Colonel. Yeah, I know. That's what you said.
Okay, in Kentucky they call him the Colonel.
That's what you said the first
he
time.
makes fried chicken. Yeah, he does. And then
a blend of herbs and spices.
it's
11 of them.
It's just Bigfoot toenail. Think about that. Put that in your 8. Hey, put that in your 8 count.
Put that in your chicken breast and smoke it.
Yeah. But there was also the Honey Island swamp monster. And
sounds like a good time.
Anyway, and then I have one more. I have one more name, and it's from. It's actually from here in West Virginia. It is the Old Men of the Mountain. That's what they call them.
I like that.
I know that. I think that's a tough name.
That is a tough name. Of course we did. Of course we did that.
Yeah, exactly.
West by Virginia.
By God, Virginia.
Almost
Amen.
heaven.
All West
West
Virginia.
Oh my God.
Blue Ridge Mountains.
Shenandoah
River.
Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains,
And the mountains.
blowing like a breeze.
Younger than the breeze.
Country
Country
road.
Take me home to the place.
To the place. West Virginia.
That's it. That's the
Mean.
outro. That's the outro.
Okay, so after our,
Big singing show.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. After our episodely sing along, I just got a couple more things about Bigfoot. So I've got his behaviors. So just like people have reported to see him like throwing rocks to communicate. So he's just like, it's like, hey, Bigfoot, and he's like I mean, it's
Takes you out.
that's what it said, man. Throw rocks to communicate. It says he wood knocks, and I learned that from Finding Bigfoot. They say that he
game.
just I forgot there was a game, bro. But so I guess he just takes a rock and he just goes, or not a rock, a stick, and he goes to the tree and he's like, and that means like,
Keep on
hello.
doing that. Keep on going. Keep on going.
No,
Make a whole sentence.
it's like, and that means hello. My name is
No.
Bigfoot. I'd like to see you.
That's
Oh, sure, that's what it means.
You know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like lying to me, but I guess whatever.
I don't know.
You're the Bigfoot expert here, and I'm not. So
You watched the show, so you tell us.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But other things that they've like reported to see, like they've seen like uprooted trees and like nests and just stuff like that. But also one thing that I kind of felt like was disturbing, especially if Bigfoot isn't real, is they just found deer carcasses just hanging from trees. Just like at the very tip top of trees.
what?
Where at?
I didn't say, but it said that there have been reports of just deer carcasses hanging in trees.
That does sound like some Appalachian West Virginia stuff.
It does.
Yeah.
What are they hanging? Does it say what they're hanging from?
Nope. Just says it's their skeletons.
Oh, okay.
Probably
They're
just their
there.
intestines.
Some other behaviors they have, they just make sounds. They make like howls and screams and grunts and whistles.
Like what?
Like,
What?
I don't know, like ooga booga. I don't know. Something like that.
That was none of the sounds.
Yeah, that was nothing you said.
Okay, like a howl. He's like, oi, oi, oi. I don't know, something like that.
He's the expert.
You watched the show. Yeah,
Exactly. That's what
yeah,
I'm saying. You're the expert.
So listen,
I
while we're on this subject, because you guys are pressuring me, I wrote this down as a maybe, but I was gonna bring like a personal anecdote. I don't know if he's listening
You
tonight.
saw Bigfoot.
No, listen, I don't know if he's listening tonight, but one of our avid listeners is my cousin Chandler, and whenever
Yeah.
yeah, whenever we were younger, we just did a bunch of stupid stuff. I actually watched Finding Bigfoot with him. And one day, I used to live out in the boonies, before I lived where I live now. So like there would be sometimes he'd come out to the house and we just like walk around and like bang sticks on trees and like make howling noises because we thought that we were gonna find Bigfoot. I believe so hard, bro. Because we watch Finding Bigfoot and we watch it all night. We wake up the next morning, we're like, let's go, dude. Let's go find Bigfoot. And so we found like we found like a tree stand. We're like, yo, that's a nest, bro. We should go knock on it.
Is
Could
this
you
when you were
imagine?
living in South Carolina?
No, this is when I was living here. I was in like the 6th grade.
Let's say 0 sightings in South Carolina. You're banging on trees trying to find the dude.
No, bro.
All
it's when I
right,
was
that makes
living
more
here.
sense. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I was like like could you imagine being in your tree stand just trying to hunt and you just hear I mean, you're gonna think you're in like Midsummer or something. You know what I mean?
I'd piss my pants.
But
I
you got a
wouldn't know what
gun.
to do.
You got a gun.
I would shoot random.
At random. At random.
It's just boom, boom, boom. We're throwing rocks. It's just like oi, oi, oi.
Is that a didgeridoo? What the hell?
That did kind of sound like a
Who
didgeridoo.
brought a didgeridoo out in the middle of the West Virginia forest?
I don't know what a didgeridoo sounds like.
Just
It was
like
also
that.
really muffled. So
Huh?
I need some work. So that was really muffled.
How about this one? How about?
Okay, yeah, go ahead, try. Yeah, no, that doesn't sound like didgeridoo at all.
I don't know.
Not at all.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So one last thing, and I'll get off my Bigfoot soapbox. So the biggest piece of evidence, but also just the biggest piece of like why it's disputed, is the Patterson-Gimlin film, and people may not know that by name, but the instant that you think about Bigfoot, you think of the image from the Patterson-Gimlin film, which is where he's walking and he's like, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
He's like
about.
like
So
you're like on a crosswalk and you're like, oh my god, there's a car right there. That's what big.
yes, yeah. See, so I collected like their kind of eyewitness account, and I just kind of summarized it just so we could know kind of what happened, because I didn't even know a lot of what they say happened, and obviously we have no clue. These two were filmmakers, so I mean they may have been trying to get their big break, but they also Gimlin Gimlin passed away a couple years ago, but Patterson's still alive, and he's pretty old. Or I may have it the other way around, but one of them passed away, but one of them is super old and still alive. But the entire time they have said that it's true, really happened. I mean, they have not backed down at all, but I mean, that doesn't really mean anything. But so their story is on the afternoon of Friday, October 20th, 1967, Patterson and Gimlin were riding on horseback on the east bank of Bluff Creek. They came to an overturned tree with a large root system at a turn in the creek with a log jam and a figure behind it. They said the figure was 7 foot tall and it was ape-like, had black hair covering its entire body. And then the creature just kind of started walking away from him. I'm pretty sure that one of them like pulled a gun, but was like too afraid to point it. So they just kind of were like, sitting there like Elmer Fudd, kind of like shaky. But it said that what they said was that the Bigfoot just kind of looked at him and just like looked at him. It says here that the Bigfoot looked at them like it was disgusted by them. So it's just like, what the hell are you guys doing here? Like, it wasn't like, I'm gonna kill you. It wasn't like, I'm afraid of you. It was just like, what are you doing here? And then it just kind of like walked off. And they have the film, and like I said, I mean, it's like the most iconic thing of Bigfoot,
Yeah.
really. But nobody really knows if it's fake, and nobody ever really will. I mean, a lot of people have examined it and analyzed it and all that, but I mean, there will never be like a concrete answer on if it is or if it isn't. But I think that's pretty interesting. So
That is extremely interesting.
yeah.
The whole thing. I mean, because if it's been reported for so long, it's like there has to be some sort of truth. If it's not Bigfoot necessarily, maybe it doesn't have to be Bigfoot, but maybe it's something else. Like, whoops, hit my computer, but it could be like anything else. It's just maybe it's being exaggerated a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's super interesting.
So all right, well, John, what you got for us today?
Well, the three of us are from West by God, Virginia.
It's true.
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah. So of course we had to pull out we had to pull out the Mothman, right? Had to.
All right.
Drop it out. Drop it.
Had to
Just
pull
like
out the Mothman. All right. So for those of you who don't know, well, I would say those, as long as you're from West Virginia, you know.
You should
From
know.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia, Mason County, West Virginia. It's about a little over an hour away from Parkersburg, where we're from.
Okay, dox us.
So
Dox
in-
us real quick.
It's too late, Trey. We've
It's too late.
It's too late.
It's too
We did
late.
it last episode
too
too.
late.
You guys doxed all of us. It's fine.
It is what it is. So 1966, 1967, there was these two couples. They went out to, I think it was called Lover's Cove in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It was an old munitions factory that was turned into a TNT factory. So like just
This sounds like
of bombs and all that stuff, right?
Looney Tunes origin story right here.
Yeah, so it was a munitions factory back in World War II, and then it was turned into a TNT factory, and they stopped the factory and its production on August 6th, 1945. I'll go back to the importance of that date here in a little bit after I build up who the Mothman is. So 1966, 1967, these couples, they found this Mothman in Lover's Cove at that factory, and they were walking in. They saw these big, beady red eyes, and they saw this 7-foot creature that was kind of like white, like a white 7-foot creature with red eyes. They saw him. They immediately ran back to their car, and as soon as they got into their car, they were being chased by the opposed Mothman. Right, so they called the sheriff. The sheriff comes. They go back to the factory, and oh god, I don't know if people can see
No,
that.
they
but
probably
Trey
couldn't
just-
see that.
The Mothman just showed up behind Trey.
What? What are you guys talking
Dude.
about?
Yeah, swear to God.
What are you guys
Hey, yo!
talking
Oh my
about?
God.
Oh,
I don't know
You're
what you
good, Trey,
guys are
you're good.
talking about, bro.
I think you're good. I
You're
think you're
good.
good.
All right, good.
I think you're gonna. I think just put up like a bug zapper or something. You'll be fine.
Okay, okay.
And so they go back, and the sheriff said that, well, it might not have been the sheriff, but somebody ended up reporting that the Mothman creature could have been a sandhill crane, because they too are man height. They're kind of like 7-foot wingspan. They're white with red beady eyes. They said that possibly they could have got off of a migration route, and they just were nesting in the factory for warmth, right? So this is where things start to get a little like weird. This is where I thought it was most interesting. So I mentioned how it was a munitions factory and a TNT factory, and I also mentioned the date that those factories shut down, August 6th, 1945. The workers who worked at those factories, they knew like what they were doing, but they weren't sure why, and they weren't sure of the total purpose of the operation. They weren't sure of. Do you guys know what happened August 6th, 1945?
No.
We dropped a nuclear bomb on Hiroshima, Japan.
Oh.
Yo, I
On
never
August
connected
6th.
that.
On August 6th, 1945, this is the same factory that was shut down on the same day that we dropped 2 nuclear bombs. Was a Fat Man and Little Boy?
Yeah.
And so, and I also talked to you about how the workers didn't know. Now, it's very likely that the nuclear bombs were not made, that we dropped in that facility, in that factory. But it is likely that something along that nature was being built. And after we dropped those bombs, we soon discovered that the nuclear bomb, the atom bomb, is the destroyer of worlds, like Oppenheimer said.
Right.
And that very well, we could have been building one in those factories, but it might not have been the one that we dropped. So that goes on to my sandhill crane theory. Very well possible chance that it was a sandhill crane. Very well chance that nuclear bombs were also being made in that factory. What do we know about nuclear radiation is that it takes a very long time for nuclear waste to be dormant. Very likely that sandhill crane went into that factory for warmth, ended up getting into some of the radioactive waste, and became the Mothman.
That's wild, bro. That is the best case for Mothman I have ever heard living here.
I have to agree.
That's crazy. Like that is
And
the most scientific, down to earth thing I have heard about Mothman ever. That's wild.
and for those of you who don't know, what year? So I'm going to talk about the Silver Bridge. This is also in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I think it was 1970. So 3 years after the fact, we have a radioactive creature flying around Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And for those of you who don't know about Point Pleasant, West Virginia, it's right along the river. And this bridge connected Gallipolis, Ohio, and Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So it's right along the water. Very easy for a crane to live there, radioactive or not. So it's very likely this radioactive crane was just living in Point Pleasant. And it ended up completing its migration and just coming back and forth. The Silver Bridge collapsed in Point Pleasant, West Virginia after people reported the Mothman flying over it. Now, with me saying that the Sandhill Crane is the Mothman, you know, there's not much lore on the Mothman being this creature of demise, this creature that predicts or causes bad things when you look at the Sandhill Crane theory. But it is very likely that, you know, when we talk about cryptids and we talk about the Mothman especially, the whole lore is that whenever you see the Mothman, something bad's about to happen. Either the Mothman's going to cause it or it's going to be a predictor of it.
Yeah, because he's kind of like an omen, right? Like when you see it, like
right,
it's going down. That's what I thought.
Like something's bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And so, so that would bring in like religious like theories and whatnot. It could have been a punishment for the city of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, for creating these atom bombs, these destroyers of worlds. And so this Sandhill Crane that was then made into what we know as the Mothman, the 7-foot tall creature, white with red beady eyes, was sent as a punishment, as an angel of prediction, as an angel of cause, to let us know our wrongdoings. And the Silver Bridge collapsed in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, connecting to Gallipolis, I believe 1970.
Wow.
And that's my theory on the Mothman.
That's a damn good theory. I like that theory a lot. I've never heard that. I've never heard that. I always heard that it was like a dude who got transformed for similar reasons. Like they figured that, I heard something about what was made there, radioactive or chemical based or whatever. Because I never did a lot of research on it. I just knew he was from here, so I'd read some stuff, and it had been a long time. So the last thing I remember of like hearing about it, it was like an actual dude who got transformed or something like that, or got
like an old worker.
Yeah, an old worker, or that there was some mix up with like him and a moth. I don't know. They made babies. I don't know what happened there, but
the old baby route. I like it.
Old baby route. But I didn't know.
What would happen if I just with this moth?
How does that work? Is it viable or? But
so yeah. Where do I go from here?
See,
where's it at?
I have always heard like a different explanation from both of those. Mothman to me has always just been like a supernatural creature. Like he's just been, it's been like Bigfoot.
Or that too.
Something that a lot of the residents of Point Pleasant like to point to is the curse of Chief Cornstalk. When he died, he was actually going to one of the forts. It's the fort that he was going to is actually still up in Point Pleasant. I don't remember the name, but you guys can look it up. It's the only fort there. It's a pretty small town. He was going there for peace in, I believe it was 1777. So if you look at what I'm about to say, remember that date, 1777. He goes there for a treaty of peace after they had been at war with some of the people there. He was part of the Shawnee tribe. They stopped battle in 1974. So this is 3 years removed from battle and from war. So 1977, he goes there. I mean, 1777, not 19. He goes there looking for like a peace treaty, and basically was there to be like, hey, if someone attacks me, we're going to attack back. Basically, is what he was saying. The general of the fort took that and took Chief Cornstalk as a threat. So later on in that year, I think it might have only been like, it was like less than a month. They took him. His son ended up coming to the fort to get his dad back. They took his son and they killed his son right in front of him. Chief Cornstalk then pledged a curse on the city for 200 years. So 1777 to 1977. That's the lore. That's the story. And that adds up with the sighting of the Mothman. That adds up to the Silver Bridge going down. The only faulty line in that is that there is no evidence of Chief Cornstalk ever saying that. Is there a possibility that he did say that? Yes, but there's no evidence. Where they get the curse from is in 1921, there was a play put on in a theater in Point Pleasant where they said that he said that. And that's where and it passed down to generation. Because if you look at Point Pleasant and things that have happened around it, there's been a lot of bad stuff that's happened in the Appalachian area, the southern area, from 1777 to 1977, but nothing enough to be like, oh, this is his curse.
Yeah.
So that theory was the one I was actually going to go with, but it ended up not being rock solid. All those dates, everything that I said before, I did not find a single theory on that online. I actually, before this podcast started, I had no theory. I saw the Sandhill crane and I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. Like, no one wants to hear that the Mothman's just a crane. And it was like, they mistaken it for a crane, right? No one wants to hear that. But then I found out that it shut down on August 6th, 1945, and it was a munitions and TNT factory that might have secretly been creating an atom bomb. Then things started to add up. That Sandhill crane could have very easily been mutated. And you want to hear something else that's crazy? In 1986, people in Russia at Chernobyl said to have seen the Mothman before Chernobyl exploded.
That's insane, bro.
That
Really?
is two evidences. That's two sites of nuclear plants that were not doing the right things. And in Point Pleasant, they were creating the atom bomb. In Chernobyl, they were not taking care of their nuclear plant. And so this angel of just destruction basically came down and laid down what will happen if you mess with things you're not supposed to mess with. In Point Pleasant, it was the Silver Bridge. In Russia, it was Chernobyl.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's nuts. And I personally, from here on out, that's not my personal theory.
Yeah.
I'm with that. I like that. That's
And
really good.
if I miss something and it ain't true, I don't care. That's the theory.
Yeah, man. Theories
care.
don't have to be 100%. No, sir. Not a
They
theory.
can be 95. They can
That's
be
a
95.
hypothesis.
It could be like 80.
Hypotheses, yeah. It can be
Hypothesis.
as long as it's 51%. I'm positive.
That's true. That's true. That's not an A plus. It's pass. It's passing.
Yeah, I didn't say I was passing. I just said I was positive, man. You know. But yeah, that's all I got on old Mothy Man. There's a movie. If you want to watch the movie, it's
There
definitely not
is.
as good as my
Actually.
theory. Definitely not as good as my theory. They should make a movie about what I just said. I think it would do way better at the box office.
You can reach him. You can reach him on any of his social medias. I'm not gonna expose he was
304. Oh my
shit.
God!
John, I am the Mothman. I wanted to tell you that you were right, and I'm very proud of you, John.
John.
Thank you for it.
Thank you
Why
for
does Mothman sound like
investigating.
a smoker?
John, be careful while shaving. No,
That's good.
seriously. All seriousness, like I know I've been kind of funny with the Mothman. That is a great theory, and I think that I think that was awesome. So
Yeah, that was super good.
so
All
does
right, Noah, follow
Mothman.
that up.
Follow that up. Oh yeah, just go ahead and drop that straight on me. I don't actually have a specific one that like is a favorite. I just have
A Pokédex.
I have a Pokédex. I have a Pokédex of a few that are interesting, I guess, but less than. More importantly, I have stuff that creatures that used to be cryptids that turned out to be true. So
Oh, that's a cool spin.
so
I like that.
so for because you guys are all saying this stuff and none of it's confirmed. And in the same way that we're like, oh, is it real? Is it not? In the same way we're doing that now, they did that the exact same amount with the rest of this stuff. So at number one, we have the platypus.
It was like it was a cryptid.
Yeah, because what? Okay, when you hear the words, it has a duck bill, but it looks like a beaver, and like think about a description of a platypus. And
It's a mammal that lays eggs.
Exactly,
And he
It
likes
has nipples
like,
and gives it milk. Yeah.
yeah, it's like you can't. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sure that's real. But
And
until
it
they
fights
found one,
Doofenshmirtz Incorporated.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
every
say.
day.
That's good.
and it wears
And
a
the
little
creature's name is
protective
Perry.
hat.
A platypus plumber. Perry the
Perry! Perry the platypus. Basically.
But they didn't. But yeah, I mean, I don't have as much in depth as you do, but they didn't confirm it. Like they didn't know for a long time. I think it was like in the 1800s is
That is
around back
wild.
then, and they didn't know about planet like that until they found one. Like they'd find them and then they'd tell people, and then they're like, "Yeah, I'm sure that
Have
sounds
you
real
guys ever
fucking-"
seen one?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. They look insane. They look
I
made up.
haven't. I've never seen one, and they live in North America, don't they?
I don't know. I think
they do.
And I've never
They live-
seen one at a zoo.
No,
it's
I don't
from
think
no from Australia.
I'm starting
Oh.
to think these things aren't real.
They're from Australia. They're also venomous. I want you guys to know that.
I
They're
did know
venomous.
that. It is not
Yes.
really like deathly venomous, is it? But like they're venomous. They have sharp teeth.
It does damage. It does some.
Well, yeah,
does some
it's
damage.
venom. It's venom.
They have these glands on their ankles. So if something tries to like if they're running and like something tries to like get them, then they like or if they just want to like hit them with like this, hit that move real quick, then I guess I don't know. But yeah, they have like spurs on their ankles that are filled with venom. But yeah, they brought until an actual
Is that
get him out of here.
is that what it looks like?
Or the platypus, but just his bill and his beaver tail.
Trey, I think Perry the platypus kind of sounds like Bane. Can you like demonstrate for the audience what a platypus
Perry
might
the
sound
Platypus
like?
would sound like is Bane?
Like that.
Well, no, he would like Justice,
I'm Perry the Platypus.
like Born in the Darkness.
You merely adopted the fedora hat. I was born in it. Molded by it.
He's talking to Bruno Mars.
Talking to Bruno Mars.
Hey, before Noah gets back to his lovely presentation, I just want to let you guys know that obviously Trey has learned how to use the video filters today.
He's gonna be using them.
So for the future, I'm gonna be beating a dead horse here soon, but it's funny to me. So
We'll be beating it, all right. Yeah.
John, it's about Perry.
I'm actually just a sandhill crane.
I'm actually
I'm actually Perry the Platypus.
Oh, that would be a dope twist. The Mothman's actually a flying platypus.
My gosh, dude.
All right, Noah, next.
Yeah, next. We can go next. But yeah, they didn't until like the 1800s, until an actual corpse of one was brought back from Australia. They didn't know that it was real. They thought it was just, made up. Number two, we have the giant squid. The giant
Okay,
squid.
that's actually kind of cool. Yeah, go.
The giant squid is 100% real. However, the like it was a bit of an exaggeration in the stories because you hear of like a giant squid as being the
Like a kraken. Yeah.
Yes, the kraken, which is as big as a boat and like can like has like like you see in Pirates of the Caribbean. It's not like that. A giant squid can go, and reports of the giant squid actually go back to the time of Aristotle, like 2,000 years,
Oh.
to the 2,000 years ago to the time of Aristotle. But they can be like over 40 feet long, which is it's still massive. Like that's still huge, but it's not. They're not like strong enough to like bring down a boat. But reports of them happen, and people are like, "Oh, it's just." Probably back then, during the time of Aristotle, they were probably thinking it was like a kraken or like a sea monster sent from the gods for them to like to be put in. Yeah, exactly. But no,
Did they ever connect to boats? Like their suction cups? Could they ever like connect to boats and like drag along with them? Is that maybe where they saw them? Because I don't know where else they would have been able to see it.
I mean, people probably just made it up. I mean, it was like I just had the list. I didn't go as in depth as the rest of you, so now it's looking poor.
No, we'll go the Poseidon route. We'll go the Poseidon route.
We'll go Poseidon
maybe it was a creature that religious purpose was they thought Poseidon sent down to the seas to bring down like ships that traveled that voyage too far. Because back then they probably like some people didn't even think the Earth was round.
No, I don't think they did.
Yeah, they thought that you'd just like fall off the side of it.
Yeah.
And maybe that was one of the creatures that Poseidon put in the water to prevent you from going off the edge of the Earth. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
I don't know either.
I would
assume that.
So Poseidon.
No.
Listen to me. So Poseidon just like they're getting ready to go off the edge of the Earth, so he just sends a kraken to kill them.
Yeah.
Well, Greek gods were not very nice to like the people who like on Earth, like their whole thing, like So I'm gonna bring up the Christian religion. People think that God used to be like God. Like you should be God fearing in a way, in a sense. You should be kind of God fearing. The whole idea on like Greek mythology and like Roman mythology, like those gods would kill people.
Yeah, they were assholes, like major assholes in the mythology.
Yeah, so
that's true.
Yeah, they while they did a lot of good things, they did a lot of bad things to like for the like bigger picture.
Yeah, like if you didn't believe in them, they would kill you.
Yeah,
because it was disrespectful.
Right.
Yeah, and then Kratos climbed Mount Olympus on Gaia's back.
Is Kratos why we know there's giant squids? What a good game.
I think so.
What a good game.
I think that's accurate. But
yeah, he was like Zeus, like he used to sound Zeus. Now he's just boy. Yo, that was good.
Do it one more time.
I've been playing it.
Do it one more time.
Boy. Atreus.
Yep.
Atreus.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the mostly intact carcass wasn't found until like the 1870s. But they had been reported. So and the weird thing is they're mostly deep sea creatures. So the rare reportings of them would be either when they wash up on a beach or like if they see one. I mean, they'd sail all the time. That's the only form of long distance travel they had. So maybe perchance they saw one or two in the ocean, or maybe just the sun hit at the right spot and they could see the shadow or something, or like the silhouette of it under the water, and just assumed the worst and assumed that it's like Scylla coming to like claim their ship or something.
Yeah, imagine that would be super scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll be scared to death.
Yeah, this one's a bit of a stretch, less of a confirming of a cryptid and more of a possible contender as to what the cryptid is. So like sea serpents, like giant, huge, sort of similar to the Kraken, but like I'm trying to think of one. I can't think of like a specific one, but like Jormungandr. We're talking about mythology anyway, but like Jormungandr, the world serpent.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, there was cryptids of these giant serpents that would be in the ocean or lakes or whatever that would come out and destroy your ship or kill you or whatever else. But there's actually something called an oarfish. It's a long, bony fish with like an enormously elongated body. They can grow to 56 feet long, and they're found in oceans all over the world. They also live in the deeper parts of the ocean. But
Oh my god.
they do. You looked it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can put in a picture of an oarfish. They look scary. Like they look like nightmarish. I wouldn't want to see one of those.
I can't believe I've never seen this before.
And that's the thing. A lot of you probably like wouldn't. The first live oarfish wasn't filmed until 2001. The first live oarfish. They'd found them dead and stuff, but yeah, if you want to go ahead and look that up, they're bony and they look weird. They look real.
Yeah, this thing's terrifying.
Yeah,
I'm not a big
real
fan.
nasty. Yeah, you can guess, take your time to look it up.
They look like magical almost though. Like they kind of look
Yeah.
like in the water. They look beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. So people probably that's a good contender as to what people thought sea serpents were.
It kind of has like that peacocky thing like on the front. Like peacocks have like the feathers on the back. They
Yeah.
like that front. They look really pretty. Like in the water. Out of water.
Out of the water, they look gross.
They don't belong out of the water. They don't.
No,
They
they
look like
don't.
a long sardine.
Yeah, they look nasty.
But in the water,
yeah.
like, but the water hits it just right. Like they're like kind of like a colorful, like rainbowish tint kind of.
Right.
deal.
But yeah, they're found all over the world and grow like 56 feet. That's huge. That is massive.
Yeah.
But we'll go on to number 4. This one's kind of like whatever, but the unicorn. Go ahead. What do you think? What do you think the unicorn would have been described as? Like, think of something.
Horse.
Get the Aurora Borealis out of here, Trey.
I think it would live here in the Aurora Borealis. Be like, I'm a unicorn. I'm a unicorn.
Dude, I bet you the freaking unicorn was just a dude at a carnival and he glued a horn on some horse's head.
And he won first prize.
He's like, oh my God. That's a beautiful horse.
The way it was described
Hey, John, real funny.
by sorry, I was reading this. The
That's
way it
what
was
he didn't
described
know, yeah.
2,000 years ago by Pliny the Elder, which is Aristotle. He was also the one that with the giant squid, he was also the one that described it in text. He also described what a unicorn looked like. And a unicorn he described as having the feet of an elephant, the tail of a boar, while the rest of the body is like that of a horse. It makes a deep lowing noise and has a single black horn which projects from the middle of its
It's
forehead.
a rhino. My bad. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, you hadn't spoiled it. That's cool. But no, it does sound like a. It does sound
How
like
was
an Indian rhino.
Aristotle? How was he finding rhinos, dude?
Well, they
John.
would conquer. They conquered
That's true.
Greece would go into Africa and they'd conquer parts
That's
of.
true.
John, did we?
Dude, it was a
No.
eureka moment. It
No,
was a
listen.
eureka moment.
Listen, while you're doing Mothman, were you like, well, on this day, we were like, that was the Nagasaki day. I mean, did we get right up at your
Trey,
stuff?
you were on the Golden Gate Bridge, dude. I don't want to hear it. And
I was asking-
showing
I
up.
don't know what's talking about you.
I thought Noah was
Batman.
asking us to figure it out.
I was.
as he
No,
was reading it
no,
out.
no. I was just
Yeah.
messing with you. I was asking you to figure it out and see what you could think of off the top of your head.
You did look a little disappointed when I got it, though.
No, it was. I was there for it. I just thought it'd be funny if I looked disappointed, like you spoiled it. Like runner up to the unicorn. After that had been going on for some time, it was like in 1577. English explorer Martin Frobisher led a Canadian expedition, and he saw the carcass of a dead narwhal and named it the sea unicorn. And then later that was confirmed not to be the sea unicorn, but he did.
Some people still
I'd
consider it a sea unicorn.
I'd still like the way its horn like spirals and everything. That's a unicorn. That's
Some
a magical
people,
nature.
some people on this podcast call it the sea unicorn.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who they are. You don't have to make yourselves known.
It's definitely not John, that freaking idiot.
Yo, dude, I love narwhals. You know,
Narwhals are cool.
bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
I love
Elf,
that
yeah.
movie. Did you know that before 1910, that any scientist claiming to believe in a giant lizard that looked like a dragon would have been like made fun of? What lizard? Here, now you can actually answer.
Mr. Kipling.
Mushu. It's a Komodo dragon, isn't it?
It is a Komodo dragon.
Yeah, Mr. Kipling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mushu.
Yeah.
Move on.
Mrs. Kipling.
Mushu from
Well, hey, so
Mulan is
it,
an
it,
actual
it was
dragon.
it was Mr. Kipling until it had babies,
Yeah,
and then it was
Mrs. Kipling. I was wrong.
classic misgenderification of the Komodo dragon
You gotta be
on Jesse.
careful with that one. You do.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
But before 1910, the Komodo dragons were thought to be cryptids. They didn't think that they were real. And then they went to the island of Komodo. They took an expedition and then saw all of them and were like freaked out because they thought that there was like dinosaurs or like they were actual dragons or something because they're huge. Like if you see one,
They eat each other too. They're cannibals.
Yeah. They do.
That's
And then-
crazy. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like the adult male Komodo dragons will eat the babies. And the only reason the babies don't all get eaten is because the male Komodo dragons, they can't climb up trees as well. And so they don't want to exert too much energy, and the baby Komodo dragons can climb better. And their
Mrs.
saliva
Kipling-
is like poisonous.
I was literally about to. That's what I was about to say. But yeah, their saliva is extremely poisonous.
Mrs. Kipling eats her young?
She does.
Yeah,
Not
Mrs.
clickbait?
Kipling was probably a water monitor.
She was a water monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's-
they
Ask Robbie.
Go ahead. No, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say that 1926 was the actual expedition where they picked 1926. That's not that long ago, where they actually brought some back, like some preserved bodies of them and also live ones.
That's crazy that they caught him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I was joking about like the whole Miss Kipling thing, but it is kind of crazy that just under 100 years before like Jesse and all that was on TV, they were just like not real.
They were thought they were
Hey,
some
Jesse!
mythical creatures. They did think that they were just like mythical creatures and that they weren't even.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No,
Komodo Island, that's like by the Philippines, isn't it not? Or am I wrong?
I have no idea. I nodded my head in like assumption. So then you
Yeah,
said
it is.
that.
It is. It is now.
Go ahead if you're listening in. Just be aware. 95% of anything we say, take with a grain of salt.
True.
You can fact check it and then make fun of us later. That's the point.
Yeah,
We don't know anything.
I want to throw a big
Like-
apology out to any Sidney Gottlieb fans from last episode.
Why would they be fans?
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's a fan of Sidney
Are
Gottlieb,
they
but I do.
sick in the head?
I do want to apologize because I don't know if everybody saw the video version, so I want to go ahead and clear this up. Sidney Gottlieb was Hungarian American. He was not German. That was on me. That was bad research. So,
However, there
So,
was a
dude-
German. There was a German. Sorry, I have to throw this in there because I saw it after the podcast was over. You ever heard of Operation Paperclip? Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and jump past that. Operation Paperclip is this operation where a bunch of Nazi followers after World War II were sent to the United States to work on stuff. One of them was, I can't remember his name, but he was a German scientist or whatever who
Albert Einstein.
started MK Ultra. So you're right. Sidney Gottlieb was the one doing a lot of the research, but the dude who started it was German.
okay, so I probably just got my wires crossed, honestly.
Probably did.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like the Germans did sometimes.
call back to last episode, look up Operation Paperclip. It fell in line with whatever.
Hey, speaking of last episode, if you haven't checked it out, go to Spotify right now, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're watching this on, and just check out Operation Midnight Climax because it's a doozy. I can tell
It's
you
a
that much.
great episode. I can tell you that right now. Oh.
So you got any more?
I was about to say back to what this episode's about though. I have some really kind of not as interesting ones. There's actually a species of gorilla that was considered a cryptid because they didn't think it was real. It was a type of gorilla called that doesn't sound right. It says the humble
Tarzan.
gorilla. It says the humble gorilla. No, it is right. A humble gorilla was considered a cryptid until 1847. Due to the fact that most of the like monkeys that they would see would be like chimpanzees and orangutans and stuff like that. Or sorry, chimps and baboons. But when he saw like basically a group of the gorilla, they had a translator that they were with, and they translated it as gorilla. So then it stayed as gorilla, just minus the E.
So you called him the humble gorilla?
Yeah, the humble gorilla, as in, I think they were just referring to gorilla in general. But that was me quoting.
So these gorillas just weren't throwing the around, right? They were like real nice. They were like
I'm talking
handshakes.
about all gorillas is what I'm talking about.
No.
1847 is when the gorilla was stopped being considered a cryptid.
He's talking about
1847.
humble gorillas.
Yeah, humble gorillas.
All the real gorillas, they were like, man, I'm the best gorilla in this place.
And the humble gorilla though,
Yeah,
shirt
they're-
and tie.
Shirt and tie.
He's not
And when they
throwing-
threw around, they did it real nice. They like made art.
They'd clean it up after.
This is
Yeah, they like
Pablo Picasso. No, it was probably Jackson Pollock.
That's more accurate.
Yeah. Look at
I
that.
have
Art
another
history
one.
tray.
Nah,
add us to the
art
resume.
history.
Yeah,
Look at
man,
the
Jackson
resume.
Pollock.
I love Jackson Pollock. My room looks like it. Never mind. Anyway, so there's another creature that you guys have probably never heard of. It's called an okapi. It looks like a mix between a zebra and a donkey.
I have seen this.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah, they were
At
considered
the
a myth.
Columbus Zoo.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's true. But they were considered a myth until 1901, and they were considered, like they called them some sort of giraffe. Basically, they thought they were just like a different species of giraffe, or like a different whatever. They thought they were just shorter giraffes. Is what they did. But and they didn't have any evidence. They're like when they would say it's the cross between the zebra and a donkey, or like explain that, and nobody would believe them. But
That one is probably the craziest one that you said in terms of just like how many different things it looks like.
Yeah.
yeah, it does. Because if you look at a picture of one, it doesn't look. If you get like a close up of its face, it has these horns. Oops. It has these horns that like they're not like bone. They're like a part of its head. So it looks like its head just like concaves in and then goes back out and then comes. It looks really strange. It genuinely looks like alien by any sense of the word that we were using, like alien in the sense that it's not from Earth. But I guess anything.
Maybe they are aliens.
I always thought they were called zonkies.
Zombies.
Hey everybody. We kind of had to cut a little bit there. Noah's
A lot of
internet.
it there.
Yeah, but Noah's internet ended up going out. So we're gonna have to do the goodbye for him. But I just want to thank you guys for listening. If this interested you or you have a topic you'd like us to talk about next week, any of that, just let us know. You can text us at our socials that are in the bio. You can leave us a voice message on the speak pipe that's in the bio. Or you can, I think there's even a Spotify question this week that is just, what'd you guys like? I mean, you can answer on Spotify. You can do any of that. Make sure to share this around and make sure to just follow us on everything and just keep listening because we really appreciate you. So as always, I'm Trey.
And I'm John. 1, 2, 3. Oh, West Helena. Oh, West Virginia.
Rich mountains hidden below
The life is all there.
older than the trees.
Younger than the mountains.
Blowing like a breeze.
Country road. Take me home.
To the place the Mothman belongs.
Away Virginia. A mountain mama. Take me home.
Country
Mothman
road. Thank you guys for listening.